And now TSPN presents Open Mic Friday with Mike Spence and Butter.
Thank you for joining us. It's Open Mic Friday, and I have a special guest, Louis Boitano, our District Supervisor for District 5. Our County Super... 4? I thought you were 5. Okay,
4.
Yeah, I'm getting them all mixed up.
Yeah, well, that's easy to do.
5 is Brian out there.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 is in between, which is Sutter Creek, all the way up through Pine Grove.
Pine Acres.
Pine Acres over there, all along Tebow Road, or how far does it go down?
No, not
Tebow?
that far, but, you know, anything in Pine Acres, Pine Grove Community Service District.
You guys should wear numbers. You get jerseys with your district numbers on there.
I have a hard time remembering my cell phone number.
Well, you work for everything that goes on in the county, you know, and it's I'm sure a lot of your decisions aren't just district oriented, but what's best for the county.
That's true.
Overall. But you do have an involvement that we're going to talk about today. The reason we have you on, Louis, is that you've just become involved with the Sutter Creek Community Benefit Foundation. And that's something that just was just formed a year or two ago, and
yeah, it just got started. I started my involvement probably around late winter, early spring, and we took it and ran. And
just recently,
yeah,
that's great. And when you set up a foundation, it's great to see a place like Sutter Creek doing that, because there is a lot of improvement projects and a lot of history that can be preserved, and you can focus on, you know, local money, staying local. True. And working on projects, you know, when people do make a contribution, they know that it's going to go to something local in Sutter Creek.
Well, our first project is the Monteverdi store, in dire need of a paint job, and so the foundation forwarded about $500 towards that project. So hopefully here pretty quick they'll get a coat of paint on that thing and redo the sign on the front of it and put it back into its pristine shape.
Right. Well, there's a lot of signage around the county that could certainly be worked on.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, lots of projects, you know, Pine Grove, Sutter Creek, they're really jewels of our county, old buildings, and, you know, things need to be spruced up a little bit. And I'm particularly interested in historic preservation, and so it's just right up my alley to get involved, and we got some projects coming up that should be really good for the community.
Well, you have two of the best towns for that, Sutter Creek and Pine Grove. I mean, that's just, there's so much character there. I went to a meeting the other morning. It was the Sutter Creek Business Association, and they do their annual budget. And so I always go to the annual budget meeting to see if they're going to allocate some dollars to TSPN. And it took place in the Eureka Inn in Sandy's beautiful home.
Oh, yeah.
There in Sutter Creek. And I didn't want to leave the meeting.
It is a beautiful home. By the way, that was my great-uncle's house.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a long history in Amador County here.
Oh, yeah, about probably 150 years thereabouts. So, yeah, my great-uncle lived there, and then when he got older, they moved down. They had another house in downtown, and it was easier for them to have him there. He was right next to his daughter's house. And anyhow, it got sold a couple times, and Sandy, they ended up with it, and it is a beautiful home.
It's a beautiful building, and it's tucked away all the way down the street next to the Knights Foundry area there. And when you're in that building, you're sitting in the living room there, and you just feel like you're, you know.
The print rock for the wall came from Volcano, the quarry up there, and of course, my great uncle was you know, he had a ranch up there, and then he prospected. Had a placer gold mine, underground placer gold mine.
All right. So. Well, I knew that there was a gold mining history, because is it one of your daughters or someone who'd worked with the gold mining group? I know your family's had a lot of history with gold mines.
Yeah, both my daughter and my son were in the mining industry, and my daughter has since moved on from Sutter Gold to West Virginia. And she works as a safety officer for a company that is doing a little bit of reclamation work on a Agent Orange site in Charleston, West Virginia. It's actually in the town of Nitro. So she's the safety officer and has to get those Southern boys whipped into shape to wear their safety gear and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a good place to, she's used to a rural area there, being from Amador County, West Virginia.
And then my son does work for Sutter Gold.
Oh, is he working for Sutter Gold?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It's amazing to see the history you know, the continuation, seeing where your kids...
Well, yeah, you know, my dad was an avid prospector miner, and that was his hobby, and my early ancestors all came out for the gold rush and were miners, so. And then on my wife's side, she's from Idaho, but her father worked in mines and a big soda ash mine in Wyoming.
Do you have a memorabilia case in your home?
Yes, we do.
A few nuggets, do you?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see that. I'm sure that's beautiful. Yeah, the history is amazing, especially our area, because so much of the industrial mining, you know, took place, the real engineering. They weren't just finding a little nugget in the river. This is,
No,
you know, a lot of mining took place here.
Once the hard rock mining kicked in, it got real serious around here. I mean, there was a lot of placer mine, don't get me wrong, but that kind of played out in the first couple of years, and then they figured out, well, stuff's underground, we can go after it.
Right,
So.
hydraulic, you know, digging the big holes.
Yeah.
And putting men down in there. We have a great history of that, amazing history. You know, coming from the Bay Area, having a different type of background in San Francisco, you know, our history there is completely different. And to come up here, and I love reading all those gold mining books. And
Well, San Francisco was the hub.
Yeah,
Let's face
yeah,
it, all the shipping, and everybody hit San Francisco and migrated this way. In fact, my own ancestors came through Angel Island. And I don't really know a lot about them because the fire from the earthquake wiped out all the records.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, and my dad didn't really say much about it, and you ask him about it, and I don't know why he'd clam up and wouldn't talk about it. Maybe he didn't know.
Go on Ancestry.com or something.
Something.
You know, a lot of people's records get lost, and
Yeah.
it's amazing what you can find on those sites. Yeah, I like the San Francisco to Shanghai with the ships and you know, all the different activities that took place there, and it was natural to kind of connect with the gold mining history. You know, that era is a special
All
time.
the hardware companies, Hopkins and all those people, you know, Stanford ended up down there, all the big five, basically.
Right. Yeah, they came out and got a lot of their materials. You know, when you're out there in Volcano and you hear about white marble, I mean, where the heck could they find that out there? But they used to come up and get a lot of the materials and bring them back to San Francisco from the area here. The foundation itself, when you invest in the foundation, it is a nonprofit type of charity-based situation.
Yeah.
So people can actually do an endowment and you know,
Yeah,
make
or be a
contributions
member
to that.
endowment if you'd like. You know, if you think that you have some money you want to leave towards the community, we'd be happy to help you with that. And you know, we're working on a number of projects to kind of spruce the town up a little bit. One of the things that I'm involved in right now is we're getting ready to do a big mining display in some part of town, subject to city council approval and public hearings. And then we have a collection of mining equipment, some of it donated from Boitano Gold. And several years ago, I bought a stamp mill battery, and it was made in Knight's Foundry, 1882. And actually, a friend of mine, Dave Borg, whose family used to own the foundry, he told me about it, and they were getting ready to sell this thing. It was going to go to some, you know, attraction in El Dorado County or Placer County or something. So I was able to step in, I bought it, and I bought it for the county of Amador so we could display it. And so our project is we're going to put this thing into almost operational. You know, we have to get the timbers and put it all together, and we're going to have some parts made because there's some stuff missing.
Well, we're going to come back and talk a little bit about that. We're going to take a quick break, and then there's a lot to talk about. Sutter
Right.
Creek with Louis Boitano, our county supervisor. So please stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.